Okay, I think let's get going. Ijaz, are you there? This is the last class and last session of the last class, so let's continue with that. And Ijaz bhai will be sharing his deck. I'm just leaving this share. I think Ijaz bhai probably stepped away. Ijaz bhai, when you're back, let's start. So today is the last class. Until Ijaz bhai come, I just want to say thanks to every one of you, and I'll be sharing probably a quick
Sorry,
survey.
Haris, I was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm here as mute.
No problem. That's okay. Just I think let's start. I'll just
Yes,
stop sharing. You can start sharing on your machine, right?
yeah, I'm not good to this one
Yeah,
tool,
I'll let
but
you know. There's a apero key, right? On the if you see bottom there,
okay, like
apero key proven now.
if I need to select everything, whole document,
No,
so
no,
I
just
can.
to entire screen. It'd be better to entire screen because that way you can do demos and you can switch, right?
Okay,
So it will give you an option and tab, window, entire screen. So go for entire screen, I would say.
select entire screen.
Yeah.
So I think cannot share your screen. Google Chrome might not have a screen recording permission on your computer. Go to System Preference for more help. Go to Issue Presenting.
Okay, maybe
Okay,
go to Windows in that case. I think, yeah.
yeah, maybe Windows. Okay, dismiss and then go to. I'll switch over again and again. Okay, then I'll go first with your Firefox, Chrome. By the way, Chrome doesn't have recording thing. Okay, let me join from the Firefox then again. Okay,
Okay.
so, I
No
joined
problem.
from there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, wait that one. Let me share Firefox. Yeah, Firefox is fine. Yeah. At least let me start and then I can jump around. Window, Firefox, share screen. Oh man, it's again man getting the message. Okay, Firefox. Just sharing. Use password. Sorry for the delay.
Is it Mac OS or what you're using? The top.
Can you hear me now, Haris?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Let me see. Entire screen works now. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So let me go and share your screen. I did some changes on the slide.
It's fine. Yeah, we
And
can see.
okay, I can go on to the presentation
Yeah,
mode
yeah,
on
you
that.
can do. You can run the slideshow on the left. On the left. Go come left. Yeah, slideshow. Right. Same thing. Go up next to the
Okay.
share. Next to the share.
Next to the share button, in the menu.
No. Go on the right. Keep going on the right. Yeah. This.
Yes,
Yeah. This is slideshow. Just.
can you see that in the slideshow now?
Yeah, but I think your mini screen is also coming. I don't know why it's came.
Okay, let me just see
Yeah.
that. Is
No,
okay?
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir, and sorry for all the confusion here. So, as I mentioned before and during the introduction, I'm going to cover two topics: high-level containers, Dockers, Kubernetes, and some of the AI/ML. It will be very high-level thing. Let's see where we go and how much time, Haris, I have it.
Well, roughly, I would say think about maybe 40 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. Because
Man,
yeah, I know.
they already
Yes.
have a lot of session. Too much data, huh,
Yeah,
Haris
yeah,
bhai?
yeah, I think you can squeeze a little bit, right? I think.
Okay. Course outline. Okay, that is the one. LinkedIn, I think. Okay, so basically, the main topic Haris told me about the Kubernetes or containerization. That's one. Let's focus on this domain first, and the other domain I'll talk about later. So the what is the reason of all these microservices and Kubernetes things popped up? But it's not new, by the way. It's almost a decade old thing, more than 10 years old thing, and Google introduced this idea. But in the last few years, it got very famous because of multiple business reasons. So virtualization. Let's talk about the virtualization, right? What is virtualization? I think I don't want to talk about that, but most of the people already know that you have a server, and one physical servers in these days we have a huge amount of big CPUs, lots of memories, lots of storage, and one application might not need that type of server, right? That's the thing came up is called the hypervisors or virtualization. So you can create multiple machines based on the one physical machines, right? So that is the concept of the virtualization, right? So means that you have a physical machine and then you create multiple instances. It will be they have their own virtual operating system. They will have their own operating system. They will exactly like a separate physical server type thing. That's a very very a disruption in the market when the virtualization concept introduced, right, more than 10 years ago. And the one who's the leader on that one, we all know that VMware is the leader. 90% hypervisor market is led by them, and then 10% is different vendors, Microsoft Hyper-V, KVM, and here and there. And so recently Nutanix have their own hypervisor. It's called Acropolis hypervisors, but still dominant market is by the VMware. But there are some issues, happening. Broadcom acquisition of the VMware that created some issue in the market. So the reason I'm telling you, I know you guys are new, but you need to understand this thing. VMware the dominant player in the market of virtualization. But Broadcom acquired it. But what Broadcom, they did have some strategy to offer the product in a different way, which customer do not like it. That's why it's now having 90% customer on the VMware, the most of the customer looking the other option. So these days the virtualization is a big like a drama it is created. So people are off seeing looking the different options. So one of the option people realize it, why we need a virtualization. Virtualization, in other words, it's like a big monolithic thing. 10 years ago, it is a very new concept, very useful. Yes, we use it, we utilize it. Now it's time to move another domain of virtualization, which we call it microservices or container world. So I know I cannot get the vote or can see how many I would like to ask question, but I'm not very good on this meeting tune. Maybe next time, Haris, we use the WebEx. So I'm comfortable. So I can see the people raise hand and then question other thing. But anyway, that's fine. So key point, what I'm trying to make it here, things are changing. We are moving from another physical bare metal to virtualization, VMware, Hyper-V. Now we are moving to another domain. Shifting of that domain is already started few years ago. It's not new, which is called microservices. Whenever we talk microservices, she is one of the very famous and one of the company who introduced this concept based on the container. The company name is called like a Docker. Docker has a strong foundation of containers, right? And they're very famous. So they release the containers, and then you have a lots of applications adopted and migrated from virtual machine, which another word we call it monolithic, like a big fat domain type applications. Now we are breaking those monolithic into a smaller chunk of a small application, which is called the micro application or microservices, which is easy to handle. And the second key point of the industry transition and lots of adoption. What is the second reason? If I ask you, what is the second reason adoption of the country is very high? Because it's a cloud native type service. What does it mean, cloud native? Cloud native means you if you develop application, and any team member who attending this call, I don't know if you have some idea or concept of programming. One of the issue of the programming for you guys to understand, whenever you develop a program based on the monolithic and means based on the virtual machine, it cannot be deployed easily from one environment to other environment. Let's say today I'm running in Azure. Tomorrow I would like to run on premises. Another next month I would like to run Google. Every time, whenever I move my application from one environment to other environment, 100% guaranteed you have to customize it. Some library is missing, some environment missing, and other things. So it is always there. But if you develop your application instead of monolithic or virtual machine based on container basis, okay, Kubernetes should not be here at this point, but let's ignore the Kubernetes word here. I'm talking about containers. Container is one of the pioneer company I'm remeeting is a Docker. So container-based application means if I develop my application instead of monolithic or virtual machine based on container, which is provided by Docker, I can easily run my application anywhere on the cloud, on premises, and other thing. But the problem is that Docker is not the only company who has a container services. Lots of other things. CRI, Rocket, another thing. 4 or 5 in the top dominant player in the market. Now, what happened when container was introduced by Docker, this company, that was a not easy to manage the container, and the orchestration piece was missing. Means they have a like when you have grown 10 containers, hundreds, thousands of containers, right? Because you have a micro, you're dividing your application into smaller services, right? When you do this thing, you can expect, you can understand, you can imagine now, you are gonna have a thousands of services. In other words, containers, which is not easy to manage natively, locally with the help of container providers, for example, Docker, Rocket, and other things. Then Google introduced another product, overlay product, is called Kubernetes. And the purpose of the Kubernetes is what? Kubernetes is only developed not to create container, which is still you need a container runtime like Docker, but Kubernetes talks to those container runtime like Docker to manage and orchestrate containers. So Kubernetes is what? In simple word, if somebody asks you, what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an orchestrator to orchestrate, manage, and like a full life cycle management of container. Under the hood of Kubernetes, Kubernetes can work with Docker, Kubernetes can work with CRI, Kubernetes can work multiple type of containers company. I'll take a pause here and see if there any question, Haris.
Yeah, I would say even question from myself is that okay, so Docker, the containers basically is the next level of I would say virtualization, right? From the workload perspective and the microservices perspective, right? So the important question is that I mean it's an evolution, right? From the physical server to the virtual machine, and virtual machine we are going in even further
Correct.
virtualizing the microservices, right? But do
100%.
with the way industry is moving, like VMs will continue like the way VMs are, or people just go with directly with running containers on the servers?
No, no, very good question. That's the question I need really. So first of all, virtual machine transition, like I said, is started, is already happening since last few years, right? But some of the applications is when you talk microservices, a different type of application architecture, we call it modernization.
Mhm.
Most of the organization, I would say most of the organization is not ready to modernize their application from the scratch. For example, Cisco, what Cisco did, since the last 5 years, Cisco changed all their applications from monolithic or virtual machine based to containerized based, or we call it Kubernetes based. So Cisco is not developing any application in monolithic environment. No, zero.
Oh,
But it's
interesting.
not easy. Cisco is a big company. Cisco can invest like a millions of dollars and they can transform it. But for a smaller organization or where we have some like a government and public sector, they have a like a not easy to change anything. Still, they are using the virtual machine, and virtual machine is not gonna disappear in soon near future. It will remain there. But
Mhm.
if you do not know the container, this will go together. That doesn't mean that if you have a container, it means you cannot have virtual machine. You
Right.
can some of the application you can run on the virtual machine. Some of the application you can run on the container. So both things will go. And some of the tools available which can convert your application from monolithic virtual machine to container, which I do not believe on those tools. You know why? Because when you convert with the tools, it is not optimized, because container means, let me go one step back. When you have a virtual machine and you need a high availability, when the application goes down, you need to bring it back from another virtual machine. It takes minutes, maybe depending on the size, operating system, application itself. It might take around 10 minutes, up to 10 minutes. So it means that if I convert it out from the tools, it will not be a good conversion, right? It will like a huge, big, fat type application will be container. So container application, if I fail, this is another advantage. So if I container application fail, it can bring up within sub-seconds, like a 5 second, 10 second, depending on the other thing, because it's not running operating system. It's shared OS kernel, shared operating system. It just image is there, already built it, and then just bring the image. Maybe image is already downloaded on the system. It will be downloaded, and then configure it, run it. So what we're saying, two things here: lean, less infrastructure in container. Operational perspective, it is very, very efficient container. And then development of the software cycle is very quick. Final and fourth thing I would say, and then obviously too many benefits here. Maybe I should write it here. I'm really sorry I did not make a slide, did not focus. DevOps thing, CI/CD pipeline, where
Mhm.
you automate your full life cycle management from development, staging, testing, going to production. It will be very easy if your application is based on containerized and Kubernetes. Can I achieve these things with the virtual machine thing? Absolutely, you can achieve it, but it will be not optimized the way we can optimize if my application environment is container slash Kubernetes based. Makes
Okay.
sense, Harris? I know
Yeah,
you can ask
yeah.
on behalf of the audience. First of all, I will ask the question, is it clear the concept of virtual machine versus container?
Yeah, I think this is giving you a good idea, right?
Exactly. This thanks Haris made this slide, not me, by the way. Okay, so what we said that here is the picture thing. So if you see on the left side, you have one physical virtual machine, one physical, okay, on the left side, and then you see that you have infrastructure, host server, not server, and then you install the hypervisor, and then if you see the VM1, it has their own guest operating system. It could be Windows, and the VM2 it could be Linux, VM3 it could be Unix. So these are the things. You see, the operating system is built on each virtual machine. It's a bulky. If I need to make a backup of this virtual machine, it will be gig. Okay, it will be gig. So this is the way we are operating, but it is utilized in the market, is heavily, and it was one of the big revolution in the IT industry. Let's see what is the container on the right side. If you see the infrastructure server, operating system means here we are talking about, the operating system is obviously shared OS kernel. And then you have a container software. For example, that's good, Haris, you mentioned that is Docker. It could be any software. And then on top of that, I'm running somewhere Kubernetes in parallel. Okay. Kubernetes can be on the same machine. Kubernetes can be different machine, which can manage hundreds and thousands of containers, which is distributed in different part of the world. One Kubernetes, which is called the master node, orchestrator node, for high availability, normally recommended 3 nodes, and one will be active at one time, given time. So they can manage container, which is hosted in hundreds and thousands of servers. I repeat the architecture, which is a self-explanatory here. If you see from the bottom, infrastructure, on top, operating system, and containers, I should write here, each container contains also libraries and
Right.
dependency. So here I did not mention. So if you container one, libraries and dependencies. Container two, they have their own libraries and dependencies. That is the reason it becomes cloud native. That's why I said if you develop your application, 99% chance it will run as it is on Google, Azure, on-prem, if it is a containerized base and Kubernetes based orchestrator software. Haris, any question?
No, I think it's super clear. Definitely, I think this is very interesting, right? To see the industry evolution, I would say, because eventually, looks like if someone is starting fresh in a green field and they want to run some servers and some applications, so for them it makes sense to directly start their journey with the cloud native containers, right? Instead of going with building
100%.
individual things.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so here is the sum of the thing. That's fine. But here is some of the things. So Docker is there, RKT, this is another one. This is journal slide. It's not a very good slide. It's my bad again. I should have focused. But the key point here, The RKT is another container provider. Docker is another container provider. Kubernetes is the de facto standard orchestrator. In my life, I would share one experience with you guys. I worked more than 25, 22, 23 years, right, Haris? Experience on the industry
Yeah, yeah,
now. It's a
25.
multiple decades. So I can tell you one thing, honestly, very interesting thing, you'll be enjoying. I never see any product, right? Like a protocol is a different thing, like BGP and other thing. I don't see any product orchestrator which becomes the de facto standard. Only at I see in my life, Kubernetes is only product as a Kubernetes like or container orchestrator is a de facto. Same thing is supported by all the cloud providers. Google developed it, and but it donates to the organization. It's called CNCF, Cloud Native Organization. Means Cloud Native is an open source free organization, and they took it and they're managing. I think Google will be regretting now the way it's. So anyway, so Kubernetes is the thing, and I would recommend. I saw last the session about Shahid Kazi, right? Am I pronouncing his name?
Yeah.
It looked like Shahid. All the Shahid guys are great, huh?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so team, here is the thing. I heard that Linux. You know what? Exactly the same 10 sentence I was telling. I was doing some advisory thing for a group of students, and then I told them Linux along with three things, by the way, and Python, and he mentioned that Kubernetes containers, third thing, and the Terraform, infrastructure as code. Infrastructure. These are the four basic things, and they all learn. Doesn't matter the programmer, system admin, scientist, but you belong to IT, you have to know. Okay, I'll come back to that topic, so I'll not derail. I'm the guy who detract very easily. Okay, so Kubernetes, what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an orchestrate containers. Docker is the company which provides containers. So if I run a Kubernetes services, I can set up my environment under the hood. Kubernetes, my container provider will be Docker, or my container provider will be Rocket. On the left side, see the Red Hat OpenShift. By the way, the reason I'm mentioning is one of the very famous product of container Kubernetes. The Kubernetes, if I get it from the internet, download it, is open source. And if there's a problem happen, community forum and some private companies support it. But serious organizations do not use it. This is called upstream Kubernetes. So if I ask a question, what is upstream Kubernetes? So you guys should know that if somebody refers upstream Kubernetes, means we are talking about the open source one, which
Free
is
version.
available from CNCF, free version, exactly. But if I need a production grade thing, what the Red Hat did, Red Hat take this one and then they package it, because security perspective, this is not very secure. They repackage it and then release it with some their own flavor. They call it they do not call Kubernetes, but all the people know that they call it Red Hat OpenShift OCS, OpenShift containers. This is the product it is using in the market a lot. So this is a commercial grade product. So there's another product along with the Red Hat Kubernetes OpenShift, which is called Rancher. Red Hat is very famous, by the way, in North America and the Gulf areas. And the Rancher is also famous, but mostly is famous in the Europe side. I don't know the reason, but Rancher is not adopted a lot compared to the Red Hat. But
But
if you
Rancher is the
ask them,
same thing as a commercial offering based on Kubernetes. They package it, support it, and all that, right?
100% correct,
Okay.
Harry. You're absolutely right. So Red Hat is one of the company
Mhm.
which is package, and then if you have any 24/7 support, commercial things, so this type of thing available. And other one is Rancher. But under the hood, both are used what? Upstream Kubernetes, open source Kubernetes. Okay?
So just to take a pause here, I think so guys, I know it's some of you might not be getting 100%, but at least bear with us and go through this deck and at least go through the material. The baseline is that we have the servers, physical servers, then we have the virtual machines running its own operating systems, and now industry is thinking more towards the next level of virtualization, which is running the containers. Container, what essentially is the isolation of the microservices, right? You can run many microservices and we can run on the same operating system. You not necessarily, because every time we spin a new operating system, it takes the resources, right, from the server. If I'm running 3 VMs or 4 VMs or 5 VMs on a server, every VM is running its own operating system, memory, CPU, and all that, right? So Kubernetes, the concept of the container is that instead of running individual VMs for isolation, you run individual containers, means that you run your environments or is in small isolation within the same OS, right? And I think details you'll go through more. Uh, but important thing is that you don't need a many VMs on the same operating system, or the single VM. You can run many containers. And in order to manage so many containers, the orchestration or the control platform is called Kubernetes. Kubernetes is nothing, it's just the management platform to manage all the containers that you're spinning up and down all the time, right? And the question is
Exactly.
from Rizwan, is asking that are the containers are subscription based or how they get charged?
Okay, so this good question, by the way. So most of the container provider is open source also, by the way, but like even including the Kubernetes is open source. But if you go to the Red Hat provide the Kubernetes containers, everything, but they charge based on the worker nodes. How many worker nodes? I did not talk about that. There are two types of nodes if you talk Kubernetes. One is a worker node where you provision your like applications type thing, and then another nodes which is called the master node, and first of which is run the like a controller type thing. So the license is for the number of workload, and then the software from Red Hat is covered everything. So did I answer a question? If I go to the like a production grade thing, is based on the number of nodes.
Yeah, so your home systems or non-production system, you can run on free setup. But if you want to go for production grade, definitely there's a paid services that you can go for.
Based on the number of nodes. Yeah.
Number of nodes.
Let me just tell you one very important thing, and you guys will be very like a expert. What's the next step? We talk about that it cannot boil the ocean, right? So here is my suggestion. What's the next step? Do you guys want to learn? Whatever we talk is a very like a 5 minutes thing. It's a very, very good certification. It's called the Kubernetes KCNA certification for the beginners, for the associate. What I would recommend, you guys focusing Linux, Python, and then if you do this certification, which is like a multiple choice question, and one of the training, Haris, you can send the training, it's called
Mhm.
the Take Cloud Mumshad training for the KCNA. This is one of the best training. Do this training. If you're fresh and you have like a 4 hours per day and you have basic Linux idea, you can. So you will learn very, very good knowledge. I would say it's not a deep advanced knowledge, but you have a very good idea about deployment, a production perspective, what Kubernetes, what containers, what are the other free source. So I repeat, this is one of the most famous certification, KCNA, Kubernetes and Cloud Native Associate. And which training you should attend? Multiple training, but based on my experience, which I suggest to my group, which I'm running for another group, by the way, and they are doing training. It's called K Cloud. Haris, I'll give it to you the link
Yeah,
for
please
that.
add the links here. It's very important. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, do that training. Trust me, you will be very, very comfortable after a few weeks. So this session, if you are spending 4 hours per day, you have fair knowledge of Linux, basic knowledge of Linux, I would say that way. You should be able to finish within 6 weeks to 8 weeks this certification. Don't rush, understand everything. Once you finish this video, they have a playground. Playground means they have a Kubernetes cluster built in. You log in, you can run all the commands, you can build your own Kubernetes cluster. There is a video on it. So you will see yourself in a different level in 6 to 8 weeks if you do this certification. And then, by the way, this is not easy. I learned from the hard way. I'm talking about 6, 7 years ago when I started. Nobody guided me, and I took some wrong training, wasted my time. After 8 months, I was able to do CKD, Certified Kubernetes Administrator Developer, right? So I'm certified, but it took me 9 months because there's no guidance. Nobody told me how to do that. Okay, Haris,
No, yeah,
I'll
great. I think let's add here at least the learning path, right? So whatever the learning path you recommend, let's add it there, the deck later on.
I'll do that. Here, do you have still appetite to go to the another right team? I don't know if you can raise your hand and Haris can tell me. Haris, you want me to cover the AI ML thing? It
I think
is
we'll go through at least whatever. I think you have a demo, right, or something, right? You want to show us
yes,
quickly
yes.
in
Yeah,
maybe
but
10 minutes.
demo will not be very helpful. First, you need to understand the concept. And team, whoever is in this call, take a deep breath and be ready for this another one. Okay? You will enjoy that session, but you need to focus little bit.
Yeah, pay attention.
Okay? And any question, don't shy. Please chat, and you can ask question in any language. Okay? Okay. I'm sharing the PowerPoint now, Haris.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
You can see that. Let me go PowerPoint. You can see my first screen,
Yeah. Yeah.
the role of AI/ML. This is the screen looking.
Yes, we are seeing that. Yeah.
I'm going to presentation mode. Is clear?
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I'll skip some of the slide. Okay, so but what is Gen AI or generative AI means? You would like to generate some of the content, a clarification, but generating something with the help of AI tools. But since I'm a hardware guy, so I always talk about the hardware. So what hardware needs? Infrastructure. Here you do not need to focus, by the way. Just to make sure you understand. Whenever you go there, any AI type implementation or specifically Gen AI type things, you need a servers with a good amount of GPUs. What is GPU? I'm not going to cover in this session, maybe later, but very high level thing. CPUs. CPUs has a like a now hundreds of cores. Cores means that a logical CPU within the CPU, but GPU, which is a what's a graphical processing unit, it has a thousands of parallel processing. So generative AI requires a huge processing. That's why you need a GPU based server. Whoever here in this meeting who plays game, he must understand what I'm talking about GPU. Okay, network should be very high performance, low latency, and the biggest the problem with this Gen AI is a huge disruptive software stack, which I'm going to talk about little bit today. Okay, let's see. Now, interesting thing is coming here. I know some of the things for some people is clear, for some people will not be clear, but I'll try to simplify this concept and I will not go and try to finish, but I'll stay. And then Haris, the way you ask and jump in and ask question based on the audience, please do it. That's
Sure.
very
Sure.
helpful.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
So, okay, in industry, you heard of one thing, very like often terminology you are hearing a lot, I'm sure, LLM, large language model. And then what is it? You'll get some idea soon, but basically, this is the only file, this is the only thing which you are using or interacting right now. And I'm sure on this group, whoever attending this meeting, everybody using LLM. Can say how. Are you using ChatGPT, Bard, anything this software? Most probably yes. So those ChatGPT means your question query generate and it goes to a thing which is called LLM, large language model, and he responds the thing. That's it. Very simple, very high level, but it is not that simple under the hood. But let's elaborate more. Okay, I put two names here, Mistral, Llama. So these are the two open source company. By the way, right now is a hundreds of company who is providing open source LLM. Is ChatGPT LLM is open source? No, but you can use it based on their cloud. It's a huge LLM. I'll talk about what does it mean huge. So two concepts here. I told you one is called the LLM. We will see further in detail, but remember this terminology, large language model, which is the key ingredient for the AI, and everybody is acting this thing. How? We'll show you in a couple of minutes. Now, if I ask you, can you tell me any two companies which is providing open source LLM? Very quickly, these are the two very famous ones, Mistral and Llama. Llama is from the Meta, open Facebook type thing company. And then other thing. Okay, then you can say, where is ChatGPT? ChatGPT LLM is not open source, but if you want to develop your application and send the data to the ChatGPT, but it will go to the cloud. But if you need your on-premises or cloud or open source LLM, there are hundreds of choices out there. Let's elaborate more. I will give you an example what is looks like LLM for the Meta, because Meta released this information on the publicly and not everybody. Okay. If I zoom in to the LLM, let's say llama. You see the llama, I put the, here is a bit complex looks like, but it is not. If you understand this thing, it will make your life very easy. And rest of the discussion, maybe we'll do a follow-up session, deep dive, how to develop an applications, AI based application. It's not looks very complex, but it is simple for the initial level of setup. But if you go to the production grade thing, yes, it is complex to make it something very accurate and error free. But for the testing, development perspective, it's not that difficult. Okay. What the LLM? The square box, you see that one? The blue color box. Let me just draw the pen. You can see my screen. Whatever I mentioned, this the red color thing, this is LLM. LLM contains how many files here? You see that? There are two types of files it contains. One is called the parameter file, and one is called the run type file. Parameter file is the file which contains all the our neural network information. You do not need to understand what is neural network. For you, you can think or assume or understand that this parameter file contains the main information. Okay. Then what is this run.c file? Run.c, it could be Python, it could be anything. So simply, when you have a question, can you generate me a article about that topic? This question, who will take this? You interact with the run file. It could be written in like a C language, Python, Java, and then he takes your question, run.c or whatever the application. It sends this query to this LLM, which is a parameter based. It processes the data, it comes back here, and then it responds to the end user. This is the way you are interacting with the chat GPT. Here, Haris, I can only ask you, is clear?
No, it's very clear. I think very interesting. Definitely, we all see the run.c thing only front interface where we just run our questions and queries, right? And in the end, it's
Correct.
running this parameter and going and getting back the information. Right?
Perfect. Perfect. Now, how it looks like in real life. In real life, if you have this LLM on your computer, right? In your laptop even, and there's no Wi-Fi required, by the way. That's a cut it. And then you will see the inferencing. Ask the question, it will go to the parameter, it'll give you the information. That's it. That's the chat GPT, and most of the time you are behaving. But here, there's no private data, there's no customized data, right? Whatever the thing is trained, you get the answer. Let's say this guy is trained 6 months ago, and you ask the question, for example, who is the prime minister of the Pakistan, for example, now, which is last month appointed, for example, he will say, no, I don't know, but as per my 6 months old notice, I know who this is the president of the Pakistan or prime minister of Pakistan. So this stage is called inferencing. The most of you guys, what you're doing today, you are doing inferencing. If somebody asks the thing question, what are you doing in interactive? Because there's different stage, fine tuning, training, inferencing. So what as an end user, we do inferencing. We ask question through the runtime, get the information from the parameter file, and then we get the response. So this is Llama 2 in the model. This is LLM, and this is inferencing. Anything question is clear how we are interacting?
So
Clear?
Rizwan is asking, LLM is owned by Meta.
No, LLM is developed and released by hundreds of companies. I am showing one of the example of Meta because Meta released this information publicly. Clear?
Llama, actually, is asking about Llama. I think Llama is owned by Meta.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. Llama is owned by Meta. Correct. 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 Sorry, I think
Yeah,
LLM.
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Okay. So let me share my terminal. I'm going to terminal. Haris, tell me if you can see my terminal.
sure, sure.
You see my terminal now?
No, I still see the presentation.
Okay. Let me go. Okay. Now I think you can see my terminal.
No, I see your presentation. Before it was in slide mode. Now it's in presentation mode. Like this.
Oh. Oh. Okay. 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 I need to share the screen PowerPoint
Yeah,
one by one.
screen. Yeah.
Oh yes. You're right. You're right. Okay. And then share presentation. Something else. Window. Download. That's a problem. Let me try to entire screen share. Let's see if it works.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe. Yeah.
can see my screen, entire screen now.
Yeah, we see your entire screen. Yes, now we see the shell demo. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the thing. I'm sharing my terminal. This is running on my laptop. Okay, and this is my laptop, and mine is a Mac laptop. Okay.
Mhm.
So what I did, I downloaded a small LLM here. See, this is a file. It's small, very LLM is yeah. I need to talk about the billion parameter. Let me go. I forgot one thing. I forgot one thing. Here's thing. I think very important. Then I'll come back. If you see that one parameter here, right? And then I forgot to exactly, totally forgot. Here is the thing. Then I'll come back. This is the thing. You see that this is file name means Llama release version 2 and
Mhm.
70 billion parameters. 70 billion parameter. It has a 70 billion neural information. So
Uh,
each parameter takes 2 bytes normally based on the 16-bit quantization. But I'll not go deep. But let's assume the different ways to define the parameter in terms of size. So each parameter has a 16-bit or 2 bytes. So if it's 70 billion, so how many? What will be the size of the file?
okay. Okay.
In the market, 70 billion is too big. Now we have a small models, 4 billion, 7 billion, 22 billion, 13 billion parameters of file. So, but some less, and you know that how much parameters in the chat GPT LLM?
I don't know.
While it
Trillion.
has, no, no, you're right, Hari,
Yeah.
1.7 trillion.
Yeah.
1.7 trillion. So they have huge. So to where you know that then if I have a 4 GB, 4 billion parameters, so it will be depending on the quantization and everything, it will be the size of different size. What is quantization? What I'm talking about. I will not go into detail, but just try to remember this thing. Quantization means each parameter I can save in a different size. Each parameter I can save 5 bit, 6 bit, 8 bit, 16 bit. Mostly industry either use 16-bit means 2 byte per parameter or 8-bit integer. So
Mhm.
these are the two things here. So what is why if you low quantization, less accuracy. 16-bit means if see the file will be 140 GB, 70 billion. That's my question. Okay, if I have a 7 billion parameter and 16-bit quantization, what will be the size of my file LLM?
70 multiplied by 16 something.
No, 7 billion
Yeah.
parameters, and I'm using 16-bit quantization, 2 bytes. So what will be the size of the file? Size of the file will be 7 to the 14, 14 gig. Clear?
Mhm.
Okay. I have a simple, the reason I know is a very simple thing.
Right.
If I'm same thing, 7 billion parameter, but instead of 16-bit quantization, I have a 8-bit quantization. What will be the size of the file? 7 gig. You know what? Why? Because each parameter is taking 1 byte, simple 1 is to 1, 7 into 1, 7 gig. If it's a 2 bytes, 7 to the 14, 14. If Haris is not clear to you, so I can maybe not other clear to other guys also.
No,
If you
let's
see
carry on. I think let's carry on. I think definitely
clear.
everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the idea now. Okay, so here is the thing. My terminal, here I have a file downloaded LLM. Okay, let's say I'm running this LLM here. Okay, I'm running this LLM. I do not have a GPU. You see on my, is downloading on my memory. Okay, is downloading this LLM. The reason I'm telling you this is the basic concept, then I'll go to the next. Then it is running, you said do HTTP, this guy. Okay, I copy paste this one. I'll go back to that one. Okay, what is KCNA? I already showed you. I'm going to log in this page. Okay, I ask a question here. Let's say, what is Cisco ACI? This LLM is running where in my machine? Am I connected to internet? I am, but I can run this thing without interconnect. I can
Yeah.
download this LLM on my cell phone even. What is Cisco ACI? Even though it's a very small 4 billion parameter, but he knows most of the things. So he's answering that question.
So is your private
Then
GPT right now?
Exactly, right. But yeah, exactly. If I can upload image also and ask about the image, desktop, yeah, for example, sunset. This one I normally use for the demo. So I upload image, I give them image, and then I ask describe it. For example, so whatever the picture, you see that this is a very small LM, but he knows something about that one.
But describe it. You didn't mention describe what? Describe this image you just uploaded, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because I just last picture I
Last
shared.
thing that you done.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Let me just upload that image. It's not choosing it. Sunset. Type it. It's not coming. It's doing something, by the way. See
Hmm.
that?
It's already
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. Okay. He will read the image. See nothing else. I have nothing. Based on the picture, will take from my application this front end, which is runtime. He take this picture. He converts something. It's called vectorized data, and then send this information to the LLM. LLM get that data, and then he translate it, convert it, and then I see a picture of ocean and sun is like a sunset is happening, and the waves is there, and then sometimes it does a wrong information also, but that's fine. The key point here actually, you can do ask question and you can run. So this is the concept of LLM. What I'm trying to show or to make sure you understand what is LLM. So LLM is clear now. Haris, you can ask
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question again.
yeah. Definitely, I think this is the key, right? This large language module, they are the one who's the one doing all the backend processing and analyzing the data and all that. So this LLM technology, I think, just be familiar, right? The whole idea is to make sure that we all are well versed with the LLM concept. Yeah, it comes. I think output comes, right?
Yes, you know, because the reason actually is right now I'm running on the memory computer,
Right.
and then it does lots of process. LLM does a process. So normally that is the reason I mentioned in the beginning. Normally LLM should download, upload into the GPU memory. It was one of the reason I was doing the sizing exercise with you guys. So here, if I go back on that one, my PowerPoint, all reason wanted to show you the relevance relationship between the parameters, size of the file, because if you see the GPUs today, the maximum is like available bigger, but in the like a sell perspective, like in our portfolio, what we're selling today, 80 GB memory. If I take 140 GB file and the maximum one GPU is a 80 GB, so it means I need to split the model and put into 2 or 3 GPUs, right? Correct?
Mhm. Mhm.
That is not a recommended way. So you need to get some model which can fit into single GPU memory. Aris, did you read my article I sent that published on the LinkedIn about that model splitting? I'll share the link with you.
Yeah,
Share the link.
yeah.
If you have a LinkedIn ID, you can see. And what is the reason? Okay. Now, if you see the interesting part is here. This is again from the Meta side. This is not me. I just copy paste from their side. So how the LLM is built? Very simple process, very high level. This is called training, machine learning algorithm, and building a model. When you take a building a model, means we are talking about building a LLM. How it builds? For example, the 70 billion thing, how it builds, they release publicly. They got the chunk of the internet. They have some software which verifies the accuracy of the data. It was around 10 terabyte. And then they process the data based on neural networks. Another thing, they continuously process the data of 12 days and 6,000 GPUs. Here I'm talking about one GPU's price is what? Is like a 10th after discount. It's like a 7 to 8 thousand after huge discount. One GPU processor US dollar is $7 to $8,000. So
Wow.
these are the things. It's a serious activity to build a model, to build a LLM. So only the big companies can build it, and then we can reuse it. Somebody selling as a commercial, somebody selling as an open source, like a Meta and other Mistral, right? But if you need a support, then they can have a commercial model. So you see that one, 7 billion, 70 billion parameter. This is 70 billion. They require 6,000 GPUs for
Wow.
12 days. Approximately just did not buy anything, just for the renting cost is $2 million. So now they come up with a 140 GB file of zip file, which is called the 70 billion parameter based on the float 16, means 16-bit thing. Is
Hmm.
it clear? I
Wow,
know it's a long message.
very interesting. I think now I think people realize the toll it has, right? And in the back end, it's not coming for free, right? A lot of
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah. Recently, NVIDIA CEO, Jensen, they released the information. The new release of the GPUs is a requires the biggest one, the H100 is called. This is not the latest one they use Meta. The latest one took like a 23,000 GPUs. And then that GPU as a list price is like a $90,000. So okay, 90% discount, let's say $12,000 or $10,000, for example. So 10,000, let's make simple figure. 23,000 multiplied by 10,000. What will be the price, and Haris? If I have a 23,000 GPUs, after discount, I have a $10,000 GPU per GPU. So what will be the total cost of the GPU then?
22.3 million something.
Yes, 23,000, right? So 23, remove the 3 and the 10,000. So I think more than 23 million. Yeah, 23 million, something, right?
Yeah.
So maybe more, I don't know. I'm very bad on the mathematics. But the key point here, you see that one, that is the amount of GPUs required to building or train a model. So that's why I said you do not train. You work with the inferencing and fine tuning. What is that? Okay, so LLM models and GPU memory issues and challenges. So your challenges, I don't want to discuss with you guys. For you guys, this slide is made for another audience. So multiple GPU, can you use it? Yes, use it, but there's a different challenges and issues there. Multi-server means that you can do that. Yes, you can do that, but splitting a model is not every organization has the capability and resource to manage that type of thing. But in industry, as I mentioned in my LinkedIn blog, please have a read that one. It will get some idea. What I'm talking is better you read that one. It's not a big document, like a 2.5-page document, I believe. So it mentioned that if you have a model and you have a small GPU memory issue, that's why I talk to you, showing you the size parameters versus memory, and GPU memory is 80 gig. So the issue is that splitting a model into multiple GPU or multiple server is not a easy thing. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm changing the topic now, and then we'll close it, Haris, with that one.
Yeah, sure.
AI is so popular today. It's not popular because of the chat GPT, by the way. You guys asking and the other thing, and that's it. That's not the one of the reason for most famous thing. Most famous thing, people would like to use it for their customized environment, for their private environment. For example, if I ask my organization, Cisco has a tons and tons of documents, which is really hard to find. For example, if I give this some way to get the information from my own chat GPT, for example. I don't want to call chat GPT. Chat GPT is like a reserve word for the open AI, but like a GPT is an open word. And ask, where is this document? Can you summary that one? Like a finance company, legal company, what they're doing, they're asking, what is this law? This law, because there were tons of archival of information, nitty gritty. Now I can train with my private data to LLM to get my customized information. I do not want to share that information to the public cloud, and that information is not available in the public cloud. So far, so good. You got that point. What I'm trying to say, RAG is popular. The AI is famous because now you can customize the LLM based on your private data. And that process is called RAG pipeline. This is the second word. You're going to hear it a lot of time, CRAG, XRAG, lots of things, but RAG, retrieval augmented generation. If I define it very high level, what does it mean? It means you have your own data, you get that data, you convert that data in a form that your LLM understand it. There's a tools available, lots of tools available, and that data will be augmented to the LLM when you ask a question. If I ask a question to the chat GPT, can you tell me, I'm a Cisco guy, okay? And Cisco server this release, how many hard disks in it? He said, I don't know. But if I augment my all PDF file, all HTML link, all CSV file, database query to the chat GPT LLM, I can do that, by the way. Open the chat GPT, I can augment it. But this data will leak. And then he will understand if I ask that, okay, the same question, now he will be able to answer. So far, so good.
No, this is great. I think this is definitely a great use case, especially in all the large organization. As you said, there's a tons of data, right? And content is constantly created, right? The files, folders. I mean, a lot of information is there, and people tend to forget and how to get and retrieve the information when they need. And definitely, these AI tools will be very helpful to make sure that the data that we have privately within the organization, we can get it when we need it and quickly and easily, right?
Correct. This is absolutely, you convert, repeat very nicely, Haris.
Yeah.
Very accurately, by the way. I'm very happy and surprised also, as
Yeah.
usual. So very good. So this is one of the use case. By the way, the Cisco, Haris, especially, that we have a big problem in Cisco right now. Whenever we need a document, we have a Cisco Live, thousands of events, thousands of documents. It's really one of the challenge for every employee in Cisco to get the data easily, quickly. So we are making the own chat GPT, and he will tell you where is that document. So this is the thing, and it will be big help. It will save hundreds and thousands of hours because we have a 75,000 employees. Let's say if everybody saves 1 hour per
Right.
day, so
Right.
talking about 75,000 hours saving per day.
No,
Okay,
this is
so
this is definitely true. I can see even in my organization, in my role, we see that we are working on a lot of RFPs and we create a lot of content, but sometimes
that
we struggle finding the same content that we have created before, right?
exactly. Okay. Here is the picture, what I told you guys. Okay. You have private data, big font, database, documents, email, etc. Even email. One of my company here, customer, they are using use case email, right? They want to automatic reply some of the email which is generated for customer, and then he, based on the email content, he respond properly, and then he copy the respective account team to get the second email from the customer if he is interested. For example, this is one case, and then convert to a format that LLM can understand. It's like the word, I know it's a little bit complex thing. I don't want to go there, but I will tell you. But your reading will help you. Embedding, vectorizing the data. Normal data, you have a structured data. You see on the left side database, you have a structured data, you have unstructured data. Everything need to convert into text format, even picture, and then that will be converted. It's called the vectorization. Vector is the information, and LLM, each parameter is vector, by the way. It's a number, nothing. There's no cat, dog type thing. It's a number which translates into some content. Okay, I'll repeat. Private data is structured and unstructured, convert in a format that LLM can understand. Then LLM augment means add, use it, this private info, and respond the user question. Here is the bit technical thing. You don't need to understand, but it will help you to read next time you do. So, okay, previous slide, I said you need to vectorize the data, private data. What is vectorized? Vector means it's a number of any data. This is a number symbolic. I cannot explain in this meeting, but for you, you can say that every data need to be vectorized. My private PDF file, HTML, even I can give 10 HTML link, and I can please summarize all the HTML link. If I ask question, go to that 10 HTML link and answer me. So for that one, you need to vectorize. HTML link, databases, everything. So what are the frameworks to achieve the RAG? Framework means there are multiple tools. When I started this journey, I was so confused about those words, by the way. That's the reason I put together these slides, so which help you. If you see that there's a red color thing, I put the LangChain and Llama index. So these are the framework open source in the market is available. Then in the bracket, I mentioned black color thing, web-based loader, Firecrawl. So these are the libraries available within the LangChain. What it does, it converts these different type of files, PDF file, HTML link, databases into a text format. And there's another company, its name is Llama Index. They have a very famous library, Llama Parser, etc. So these are the two frameworks, very famous framework, and lots of the DSPY and other thing are there, right? But these are the very, very famous initiator one. So what they do, when I say this is a framework, what they do? So basically, they convert any structured and unstructured document, HTML, text file, so into a text file. So you need to remember at this one, this two application first convert any type of document in a particular text file format. You guys read it later. Then what? Then there is before I use LLM, I need, because for example, you have a PDF document which is a 200 pages, for example. LLM will not understand that type of size document. You need to split in a meaningful way that LLM can understand. Splitting the document itself a science. Means sometimes it's very small thing, it will give be a huge memory. If you may split a big chunk, then you can lose the accuracy. So there's a different way to do that one. So what we did, we convert the file data into the text file, then take the text file and then split the document and then create embeddings. I know that is a new terminology. Maybe for most of you guys it's surprising, but trust me, it will help you a lot. Even you have this slide in front of you next time we're reading something. Embedding means you need to convert your text, which is a previously step did, into a vectorized form and store in a database, which is called the vector database. And three most famous vector database company, Chroma, Pinecone, FICE.
Mhm.
Now your data is ready to talk with the LLM.
So this is very important concept, team. I think this is very important to understand that when we give a data, right? So data has to be in a certain format, right? That can be used. So this three vendor you see there, right? They are the famous for that. So these tools are super important to every data has to convert it to the vector form. That's very critical. Whether it's a HTML document, whether it's a PDF, whether it's a Word document, whether it's an image, whatever it has to be converted to data form, and then from that data, it will be going into these databases, vector database, which is Chroma, Pine, or FICE, right? And these are the core basics of this, I think, LLM modules, right?
Yeah, next slide will explain. Very good thing. So here is one of the example. For example, I'm using the Llama index to convert a PDF file to text file by using Llama. So what I did, I use Llama parse, and I give the PDF file. It create text file from the PDF. Then I split file into multiple chunks, embedding and storage vector database. Here is the most, now here is the thing. You see the flow for answering question. No rag means now in this diagram, you have no private data. So let's say chat GPT. User as a coming, step number, you ask a question. Then your application, chatbot, whatever you're using, take that question and set that question to LLM. LLM generate the answer back to the application, search engine, chatbot, whatever, and then generate and go back to the user, right? Everybody does that one. Am I right, Haris?
Right, yeah.
You can do like I did that also in my laptop, right? On
Mhm.
the local LM.
Right.
But now I put no rag. Let's do rag. And I have a text formatting what I did. Flow for answering a question by using a vector DB. See, almost same thing. But if I ask one, now step two is going to look up my vectorized data, which I converted my huge amount of data into vector database, which resides in my premises. An LLM can be anywhere in the world. So based on the question, search engine should be capable to find and look up the relevant data, and you have like a big database embedding data. You will get the relevant data, and the relevant data plus the question will go to the LLM. Now LLM receive not only question, but you also get the relevant data, which is your customized data, which is your private data. Based on these two information, LLM create or generate an answer which will prioritize your relevant data first and then respond back to the application chatbot, and then application chatbot will respond back to the user.
Very
Clear?
interesting. I think it's very interesting, right? It's this how this vector DB is being used. So LLM is not getting just the question, is also getting some relevant data, so it can give more accurate answers.
And I can give you one very interesting task. Everybody has a chat GPT, okay? There's some amount is using accessing the API key, and then you can generate your latest take one PDF file, which is private PDF file, and then you can do that. How can you do that? If you're interested and you do some homework, I can help you to generate an integer. It's very easy, by the way, with initial playing. And don't use your own LLM in your private cloud because it requires a huge processing. You can use that chat GPT LM, and lots of LM are available in the Hugging Face and other places. I think somebody give the session on the Hugging Face. I don't want to repeat it, but those LLMs, this could be like here, like let me just make it. This could be in the cloud, and the previous thing, I can local application, I have a local PD, I converted and vectorized database. It is running on my laptop, and this software application can be on my local laptop. And then I generate answer, this LM on the cloud. Okay, like GPT, chat GPT.
Right.
And then I can start playing very quickly production grade samples. I can start working. Okay,
No,
here
it's
is
very
one idea.
interesting. Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Okay, here is one idea, but I will close with another idea, but food for thought and think about it, because this is the second thing people is going to ask you when you go for interview or production and deployment, which is called the dynamic data. This idea, the one I'm showing here, and can I use it? I ask a question. Can I use it? Like I have a huge database of SQL. We have like a giga terabytes of data. Can I convert it to vector database and get the data, and data will be still old, right? So I cannot convert all the data in a vectorized data. Sometime we need to get the data directly from the source without embedding, which is the feature is called the function calling. Here is the thing. I know it's not a good slide, but just quick it. The Haris Bassam did this one for me, by the way.
Okay.
Okay. SQL, for example, size is huge. It keep changing. Cannot
Mhm.
vectorize because of the dynamic data. For example, weather, stock, market. If I ask this one, so it will go to the internet, normally ChatGPT, and get the data. But I don't want to go to the internet and get the data from there. I want to be very specific, get the weather from this thing and get this data, maybe some your internal website, get the data from there. Then what's the solution? This is called function calling. So you saw the embedding. Embedding is called the static thing.
Right.
You can have an embed, like say you have a source of data, you can maybe every week you can refresh embed and update it, and there, but it's still static data. Dynamic data, you can function calling. Here is the few bullets. Number one thing, not every LLM is capable of utilizing function calling. You can ask my question, you can ask question. The ChatGPT is capable for the function calling? Yes, it is. So Mistral, not all LLM. Llama, not all LLM. When they release LLM, they highlight the feature. One of the feature you need to see, function calling feature enable or disable. So what it does, so this type of feature we need to exclusively, or they need to, Meta, Mistral, this company need to train or find LLMs can determine whether the prompt needs function calling. Application typically invoke the LLM. This is the flow. I don't want to go into that one, but for you to take away from here, very simple, data embedding by vectorizing static data, you can do that. If it's a dynamic data, very big data, you want to get the data from the source, then you have to use the function calling. Maybe I have a slide, but it will not be very clear for you guys. I think I will
I think it's
stop
very
there.
interesting. I think these two concepts, last two concepts that we have, is static versus the function calling, I think is important. Definitely function calling, as you mentioned, there will be use cases when we have to rely on the dynamic data, which is constantly changing, right? We cannot rely on static. And at the same time, wherever we can use the static data, that's definitely vectorization will help with that for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Haris. That's it. I'll stop here. And on-prem, cloud, obviously workload. This is food for thought. Think about it. Gen AI solutions. For me, this is important slide because I would like to convince customer do it on premises, okay, instead of cloud thing. Then I can sell my more hardware. Okay.
Right. But
Okay.
just like a question from your relevance, right? So, what is your role in current capacity? How you relate in your job this AI with Cisco hardware that you're selling?
Yeah. The good question, Harith. Because for example, I'm at the big university here a few weeks ago. They want to, for example, they want to make their library like a AI-based library. Then I asked, what is the question? What is exactly? So they said, if a student comes in, they need a book, so they can give some idea. So the LLM provide the suggestion of the books, and then the LLM knows all the books. So it means that I
Mhm.
will have all books in e-books, and I
Mhm.
train LLM with all those PDF files, right, Harris? So
Right.
this is one of my engagement. Actually, then he asked why I was asking. He said, no, I have this requirement. So what LLM I should use? Then LLM and how many concurrent users they have. Based on that, I can recommend the GPU, memory, servers, and other things.
Very good. Very good. I think this is a really good use case that university wants to use AI to find the books quickly, and they have definitely huge repository of the books and the knowledge set, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then multiple use cases. I'm working through a three organization. Like I told you, the email one is one of the thing. If you read my blog, do you have a link for my blog, Haris?
I'll check on your LinkedIn. Yeah, probably I've seen it,
Okay.
but not read. Yeah.
Okay. So share the link, and that link explicitly application deployment. I mentioned three use cases. All three use cases is the real use cases, by the way, based on the customer interaction.
Interesting. No, anyone has any question? It's a great. I think at least for me, I enjoyed a lot. Definitely, I learned a lot of things today for sure in today's session, and it's a lot of takeaways for me to go and do some study for sure. And it's a very interesting thing. I think we covered two things: Kubernetes and the container. That's a separate thing, and just a last part was on the AI and LLMs, right? So they are two different topics, by the way. They don't necessarily have connect, but they are, as we said, in IT, the way things are evolving, all the technologies complement each other. We all use each other's knowledge set in each other, right? So this AI is using VMs and things in the background, right? So this is very important and this is interesting. So with that, thank you, Ijaz bhai,
Haris, can
for the
I add
session.
one thing? Haris,
Yeah,
just can you remind me? Very good point.
yeah, yeah.
By the way, these days the AI/ML application is developing on the containerized based solution. So
Yeah,
this is the important thing. The application need to develop. So those, for example, if you today, if you guys run a very simple application on your Mac, Windows or Mac or Linux, there's a such web UI and deployed on your laptop. It will install first Docker on your machine, then you can deploy your AI applications.
you see, so definitely, you see, containers are being used for the AI. So all the technologies are complementing and using each other's strength, right? So make sure that just get sense of all the technologies that you have studied and more, and get yourself more knowledgeable and certified, I would say, because certification give you the latest and greatest knowledge in that area. And before we drop off, if anyone has any questions, or just why please suggest any last piece of advice to the students what they should do, maybe if they want to pursue further. Maybe probably I think in the slide deck you will probably add some learning path or at least some practice path for them. And I think the
Well,
last question Abdul Rahim is asking that what is the future direction and research opportunities or career opportunities in LLMs?
yeah, yeah. For example, very good question. By the way, I know I was in rush, and it's not supposed to be that quick. By the way, so I skipped tons of things. So first thing, certification perspective. The Linux you're doing, Kubernetes containers. Even if you do not do certification, that's fine. But my strongly suggestion, do the KCNA. Everybody, it will structure your information. These basic information. Now, if you have any basic program, you don't need to be expert in the programming, right? These days, the days are changing. Days are coming in a way that you should know basic programming. You should do some of different type of things. At least what I learned from my last 20 years. Initial days, you need one areas of just programming. It's not enough. So you should learn basic things like Linux, Python, and thing. Everybody should know. That doesn't matter the program or not. You do not need to create anything from the scratch. Models are there. Take it, customize it, and use it. What I would suggest, and I can help, it will be like a helpful for me. If you any guy who is a little bit experienced, understand this thing, do some research. There's another website. It's called the deeplearning.ai, Haris. Get the courses over there. Do like a 2 3 courses, and they have their own simulator sandboxes there to run every command, building the scratch from like embeddings and everything, vectorization, everything you can do on their sites. There's some little fees, I believe. But if you want to go and take a next step, if some serious candidate here, so I can work with him and give some tasks so you can ready to develop some production grade, at least test applications, which I'm working with a few guys. So I can work with you. I can learn, you can learn from my experience, and I can learn from you also. So that's I can offer, Haris, for the
No,
some
that's
some
great.
guys.
That's a great offering for sure. I think probably Abdul Rahim and Umar, they are son of Asad Bhai, right? So they've been very actively attending these classes, and definitely this entire class would be very interested. We had two sessions on AI, and I think this is a great opportunity to make sure that this is the future, right? And the students in this class, definitely they are going to make a career in IT, and these, especially this, I think without AI, the career will not be as clear, right? In my view, the way things are changing is much faster than the when we used to work. So definitely, everyone get in touch with the deck that we're gonna share, just to make sure that you pick up the career path and connect with Ajaz Bhai on the LinkedIn and ping him whenever you need any help and support. He's a busy guy for sure, but he is very supportive. I can tell you that he will do everything to make sure that you get the information that you need. So for sure, go and connect on the LinkedIn. All the resources that we have We'll share the deck. I think we'll share a little bit clean up deck, right? Just to give you the information that we have presented today and future learning path that probably if someone wants to make a advanced knowledge in this path, right? So just the last word before we drop off from the career suggestion perspective. What are the few things just you want to, because in this course we started with cybersecurity, networking, a little bit about the data science and all that. We touch a little bit on everything just to give the sense to the student that these are the IT domains that you should learn and probably should focus on certain things. So, and most of these are students on the class are the one who are going to start career in probably 6 months to a next year or so. So, any last piece of advice before we drop off?
No, I think, yeah, you're right. But like it depends, like which are the specialized area. This is the area mostly I talk about the data center perspective, but which is not limited to data center applications. Gen AI is everywhere, right? It
Right.
can apply, by the way. Our cybersecurity division have a group now which can developing a products for the AI thing. The way like what I give you cybersecurity, when the attacks comes in, they learn the attacks pattern, lateral movement, and
Right.
then automating it, suggesting that what configuration. Same thing is happening for my data center. Same thing is happening in the collaboration. You know that you're using the meeting tools, automatically detect face and questions automatically, and then generate the summary of the discussion action items. So it is everywhere. What I will suggest, because these are new, set the landscape with the at least four technologies: Linux, Python, Kubernetes, and another thing I always forget. Always a fourth thing. Once you have it, just start playing with the AI thing, with the models. Go to the deep learning AI, play with that one, and after few months, I know lots of people giving lots of advice. I don't want to create another piece of domain of advice, but for me, these four things, and then go one website, start doing some hands-on thing. Hands-on is very important. With the hands-on, you will have a distinct or unique position in the industry. Let's pick anything or contact me. I'll guide you. And this hands-on thing, trust me, you don't know the industry. Most of the people are just talking. They have no idea. Only like if you see the 1% or 2% people really knows the AI in the hands-on perspective. Rest of the 99% or 98% people are just talking based on the chat GPT and other thing. They have zero hands-on experience. Hands-on is must. And
This is very important because this is I
luckily,
can see tell you from my
yeah,
experience. I've been seeing people talking a lot, but there are not many people who really have hands-on, and hands-on give you a great confidence and great insight. At the same time, we have a
exactly.
question from Umar. Umar, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
As you said that we are moving to new technology, container technology. So in the future, there will be any scope of cloud security like Azure and something like.
Oh yes, oh yes. But that is not my domain, like, honestly. So, but that is the area is developing. But if you talk about the AI perspective, that also hook up with the AI thing. But yes, that is totally different domain, which I'm not the expert, by the way. But yes, this
No,
is one of the very famous domain.
And
I'm
container
asking.
perspective, I can tell you, Umar. I mean, container is the way to go. A lot of new services are coming. Container-based environment. They are running on containers, right? So every vendor, almost every vendor, big vendor, I would say Palo Alto, Cisco, and all that, they are working on the container security, right? The way containers can interact with each other, and because there's a security element there. So knowing all these technologies is important, even for cybersecurity. I would say even container-based firewalls have started coming into industry now. So definitely, if you are focusing on cybersecurity to make it your career, definitely knowledge of containers will be helpful for sure.
uh, I was asking कंटेनर्स जो हैं जो एक नई टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है ऑब्वियसली बात है कि सारी एप्लीकेशंस उसमें मूव हो जाएंगी तो अभी एक क्लाउड सिक्योरिटी की एक जॉब होती है साइबर सिक्योरिटी के अंदर तो वो खत्म तो नहीं हो जाएगी कंटेनर्स
नहीं तो
नहीं, नहीं,
कंटेनर
नहीं,
तो आप उसमें भी लोगे ना, क्लाउड में भी आप कंटेनर ले सकते हो ना. इट्स
अच्छा
नॉट द कंटेनर यू आर रनिंग ऑन डाटा प्राइवेट डाटा सेंटर, राइट? Azure, AWS, whatever, right? You will take containers from there. Right? So
basically, these are the things will remain. Doesn't matter which area or segment you work. Security, data center, enterprise networking, collaboration, routing, doesn't matter. But these are the basic four fundamental concepts along with the AI will be applicable in every domain. Like containers, Linux, Python type thing in every domain is equally applicable, by the way. You learn it, security thing, whatever, you get expertise over there and use it, apply it on your particular domain. Did
Absolutely.
I answer your
Thank you.
question? Asal, did I answer your question?
उमर क्लियर आपको?
Umar.
Yes, I'm clear. I'm clear.
Okay. Okay. It's nice talking to you guys. And
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank
keep
you,
in
everyone.
touch.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. So I think this was the last session. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna probably share survey deck just to give some input that will help me at least to understand if you are able to deliver some of the key values that we thought in the beginning of the course, and was we able to meet some of the expectations or not. So just to get some input, so I'll share the survey later on our chat, right? So I'll be here for next few minutes if anyone has any question. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up now. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. So on.